Namaskar.
Namaskar. What is happening in Syria? How is Middle East exploding? And friends, if you have not seen the Saturday's one, you really missed the climax of the whole thing, which and all the predictions have fortunately or unfortunately come true. What are we going to talk about? A jam-packed session. I don't know how much can we do in 50, 60 minutes, but I'm going to give you the highlights. The first thing we are talking about, what are the chemical weapons? What are these surface-to-air missiles? What is the targets Israel is bombarding, and why has Israel increased its territory? Why is Egypt fuming? I told you guys, watch about Egypt. Egypt is the one. Why is Egypt fuming? What is Iran saying? What is Australia saying? What is UK saying? What is France saying? And what is United States of America saying? What are the Indian interests which are going to be compromised? What is Saudis up to? What is UAE saying? And what is Joe Biden saying? And what is Trump saying? And if you look at all these things, then what is the Russian angle? Where is Assad? Where is his family? And how Indian interests are going to be compromised? Why are Houthis fuming? There's a jam-packed things that we are going to talk about and how this Game of Thrones is evolving in a while.
Namaskar. Ask Sumit, episode number 36. Sumit ji, over to you. Not a moment to waste. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. In the name of Lord Sree Ganesha, let's do the Sree Ganeshas of today, Lord. And friends, namaskaram and pranam to all of you. Now, what we are going to talk about is a jam-packed session. We have a lot of things to cover. That I've given you glimpses. I've given you some things. We are going to understand how the Game of Thrones is changing, how the politics of the world is changing, and what it could mean for your and my life, and what everybody in the world is thinking and doing around it. So I have a lot on my table, so I'm going to start with right away. Look, we have been predicting that the Bashar Assad's times are gone. But if you look at the cause, if you look at why Bashar Assad, his dynasty has been in power for 50 years, and he has been fighting the civil war for almost 25 years. Why in 13 days Assad is gone? What happened in 30 days? I think if you go and if you do 𝗏𝗏, if you do a root cause analysis, you will find the answer lies in the debacle of Hezbollah. Hezbollah was taken out by Israel. Weakening of Hezbollah, Russian-Ukrainian conflict, not so much, but weakening of Hezbollah was the cornerstone which turned the Assad's regime turtle. Look, Israel has been very carefully taking out Hezbollah. Israel has taken Nasrallah. Israel has taken out all their leaders, their command and control structures, their ammunition dumps. And even before the ceasefire, remember when we met, I told you there's one dump which is just near the Syrian border they have taken out, which is one of the biggest ammunition dumps. And they are saying that we'll keep on targeting targets inside Damascus if they are strategic in nature. And after that, remember the guy Jdamah who was taken out, who was the coordination between Hezbollah and Syrian army. So why do you think Jdamah was taken out now? Why not 1 month back, or why not for 25 days back? Why not from 7th October 2023 to 5 days back? There's all meticulous planning of Israel and the idea of what they want to do next. They have really gamed it up. They've really, hats off. They've really got their piece, precise and accurate as per the engineers, engineers' aptitude and engineers, that accuracy. Now, Jdamah was taken out. Jdamah was the coordinator between Hezbollah and the Syrian army. Jdamah's taking out was a very big blow to Bashar. Now, look, there's another coincidence. What happens that the day Hezbollah decides to have a ceasefire, exactly same day, Abu Muhammad Golani, the head of HTS, his real name is Ahmad al-Sharaha, is his real name. He's a dreaded terrorist. He decided to do the offensive. And how come within 13 days he could do what they have been trying, what they have been failing for 25 years? How come stee after stee was falling? Because they knew Hezbollah is not on the ground. They know Hezbollah is gone. They know Nasrallah is gone. They know Jdamah is gone. And Israel has been relentlessly taking out assets of Assad. Remember, I even told you that these Assads, they reached to Israel. Can you help me? What did Israel say? Keep on killing each other. Whoever is left will go and kill them. That's very smart of Israel not to fall into a trap and not to get into this crazy diplomacy where you want to, where you want to say this is a bigger snake or this is a bitter snake. There is no bigger and bitter snake. Snakes are snakes. That was the best policy of Israel. If Israel would have intervened, and who wanted Israel to intervene? Remember, guys, who wanted Israel to intervene? Believe it or not, Joe Biden. Believe it or not, Anthony Blinken went there for Israel, and UAE wanted Israel to intervene and save Assad. And Bashar Assad sent a message through Saudis to Benjamin Netanyahu, and Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Oh, buddy, we don't care. Whoever kills whoever is left, we'll go and finish them." Look here. Anthony Blinken's UAE, Saudis wanted Bashar Assad to be there. And there's a reason for it. We'll come to that. But Israel was the smart of smartest. They picked up the right clue. They said, no, we don't want to save you. If Israel would have intervened, Bashar would have been arrived today. Bashar would have been live and kicking. He's still alive, but in Russia, would have been live and kicking. It will be a different war game. So this is how Israel did it. And last time, I think, Sree sir, somebody in Israel listens to us. I was on Saturday evening. I was not on live. We did a recording in the day. It was around, I think, 12:30 in the day when we did this recording. So I told Israelis, hey friends, this is the time for you to expand your territory. Why don't you expand Golan Heights? You can pull up the video.
That's exactly what they've done. Yeah.
But bhai, this is the time. Yes, this is your time. You don't. Assad is gone today or tomorrow. He'll be dead. Why don't you extend your Golan Heights? Why don't you increase the buffer like Lebanon, what you've done in the Tahiti River? Make it as that. And today, what I'm going to tell you, Israel has exactly done that. They have gone beyond Golan Heights, then they have taken more area, and they're in this what is called this Mount Hermon region, which is quite inside the Syrian territory. And what, as per the Israeli, External Affairs Minister and Defense Minister, it's a temporary occupation. Israel never does a temporary occupation. Don't be fool ourselves. Israel never does any temporary.
They'll just take out temporary after some time.
Right, sir, you hit the nail on the head. Oh, temporary hata denge. We'll just pull out the temporary. What is the occupation? So Israelis exactly did the same thing. Mind-boggling. I mean, I told you on Sunday, if you have not watched that, you should watch that, because you will see like a trailer to a picture kind of a scene. What you'll see the correlation, what has happened. Anyway, not a problem. When you get time to watch that. So what we're going to do is now Israel goes and takes their heights. What is Israel doing? They didn't say Bashar. Americans told them, UAE told them, Saudis told them. They did not walk the trap. They didn't walk in the minefield. What Israelis have done today? One, they have taken this Mount Hermon region, and they said that it's a temporary occupation. But knowing Israelis and knowing what I've been advocating, create this buffer zone. This is your time to create the buffer zone. This is your time to seize the territory, because the more and more territory you have, the more and more safe you are. Though there have been some drones which have landed today from Syria on Israel. And remember last time, the Israeli farmers were not able to farm, what I told you on Saturday, because there were these rockets and projectiles coming in. So it was not safe to farm near the Israeli-Syrian border. Now it will be very safe. Now they are beyond those range. So Israeli farmers, good luck to you, and all the best to IDF. And I love IDF for doing what they do. They really act fast, Hats off. And no, they don't. And Israel, what I love them, they don't give a shit to being politically correct. You don't have to be politically correct. Whenever your national interests are there, there's nothing to be politically correct. So Israel enters. What has Israel done? Israel kept on taking out targets in Damascus. Now what Israel did? Look, ek Hindi mein kahavat hai, moke pe choka marna. It's like hit the iron when it's hot.
Grab the opportunity.
Yeah, grab the opportunity, hit the iron when it's hot. What did Israel do today? Israel, when this all fiasco was happening, I'll take you to all the countries one by one. So you have to bear with me. You have to be there into the end. That's why we are doing today in English. So our audiences which are across the world, so English is more convenient, you can understand. Otherwise, we would have done it in Hindi. But the point of doing it in English is so wherever you are, you can kind of understand it, and whichever nationality you are. Israel did the beautiful thing. It went into Syria. Look, I had told you there are Hezbollah factories in Syria. There are some notorious factories and elements which are still protected by Bashar Assad in Syria. Didn't I tell you? Exactly, Israel went and they destroyed 3 kinds of installations today. One is so-called chemical factories, wherein chemical weapons could have been made, could be made, or some chemicals were stored which could or possibly would be used into weapons. So, hasta la vista, gone. Those chemical dumps, weapons gone. Hezbollah factories. Hezbollah had those factories where they were assembling those rockets and all, gone. Ammunition dumps, gone. Not only that, what I love Israelis for, they went and destroyed all surface-to-air missile bases. They went and destroyed all surface-to-air missiles, surface-to-surface missiles, surface-to-sea missiles. All kind of strategic missiles, guided missiles, wherever they know there was anything, IDF went and destroyed everything. And that is why F-35 is a potential machine. Imagine going in a J-20, you will not come back. Imagine going in a Chinese J20, you will not come back. That is the difference. That is why Chinese never show the J20. That is the beauty of F-35. I'm not trying to upsell it, but F-35 is a potent machine. It's worth the money. You see how much game changer F-35 has been in this game. Look at it. Anyway, Israelis went and destroyed all this. And before that, they eliminated 𝗤𝗑 at the right time, because 𝗤𝗑 was the one who could have coordinated Hezbollah and the Syrian army. Syrian army was a disarray. 𝗤𝗑 was not there. Iran was running away. 𝗑𝗏𝗍 went to, where did 𝗑𝗏𝗍 go? 𝗑𝗏𝗍 went to Turkey. When he went Turkey, then he said when he came back, he changed his colors. Oh, that is what Iranis are good at. They change their colors like chameleons. The chameleon said, chameleon 𝗑𝗏𝗍, he said, oh, it is not the problem of Shias and Sunnis and Turkey. It's basically US and Israel who is getting it done. And if Bashar Assad, you want, I'll send IRGC there to fight for you. And what was happening on Saturday? The people who were fleeing first like rats, you know, when the ship sinks, the rats flee the ship. Who were the fleeing rats, man? They were Iranis, IRGC commanders, the Quds Force commanders, and their diplomats. The first people to leave Bashar Assad and flee Syria were his brothers in arm and brothers in blood from Iran. There, because 𝗑𝗏𝗍 could understand Hezbollah is not there, 𝗤𝗑 is gone, ammunitions are gone, Israel is on my trail, American Armada is on my tail. There is nothing I can do. So he didn't want it to become slaughterhouse of IRGC. So he decided to flee the scene. And if he was not sure, he would have not taken out his diplomats. The first country reportedly taking out his diplomats or this diplomatic staff from Syria was not a Western country, was not India, was not so-called kafir country. It was the Shia Baradrin of Iran. They were the first country. I mean, this is documented now. And by the way, let me put for your perspective, Indian embassy is still working there. We are still doing there. All the Indians in Syria are safe. Our embassy is in full form. Still our people are safe there, but a lot of embassies have been ransacked. Talk of Iran. What did the rebels do, sir? They went into the Iranian embassy. They pulled down the poster of Khomeini and Khamenei. And, we're walking on it, we're spitting on it, possibly urinating or whatever. They got the posters of Qasem Soleimani, Hassan Nasrullah, and they were all these poster boys of jihad. They were ransacked, insulted, their effigies burned, whatever. And the complete embassy of Iran, the Baradrin, the Shia Republic, the mighty Iran, Shia Republic of mighty Iran, is ransacked by ISIS-supported rebels. I don't call them Turkish because they're basically ISIS guys. They're Islamic State guys. They're Islamic State and Al-Qaeda joint venture. I'll come to them. There's a lot to talk about them also. Now, they have ransacked the Iranian embassy. So, Iranian embassy is under control of them. You see how things fast change in Middle East. And if you are not as smart as Israel, you can be pulled into it. It's a vacuum cleaner. It's a vacuum cleaner of disaster, and you are a particle of dust. If you come in the range, it will suck you in. But Israel did the right thing. They didn't walk into the trap. Now, so that is happening with these in Iran. Now, with all those developments happening, now when Israel decided to go and take this additional piece of land, which they should for protecting their civilians and all, who is the person who is fuming? Guess me right. Prove me wrong. Who? Why did I get it right? I'm not an astrologer. You know who? Who? Egypt. I told you we have to wait and watch for Egypt. Today, Fattah al-Sisi and his foreign minister are fuming. Hey, how the hell did you take the territory in Syria? What are you doing in Syria? Why did you enter Syria? Mr. Fattah al-Sisi, Miss Egypt, it's very natural. I want to protect my citizens. That is why I'm going into Syria. If I don't take that land of Syria, how will I create the buffer zone? And I support Israel for creating that buffer zone. That is the right thing to do. So there's an angle here where Syria is fuming. And who is the other person who is fuming? The other person who is fuming is Houthis. Oh, how did you get into Syria? And this is not right. We'll attack you. We'll do right, left, center. Again, the same song and dance has started. Now, while this is happening, and there is one more country which is really upset with it, that is Iran, but they are not talking too much about it because they have an egg on their face. And that, you know what? Rotten egg. Chinese is a lot of those eggs which are called those aged eggs. Basically, they're pungent and rotten eggs. I don't know what is the fancy Chinese eat that. But anyway, that Chinese rotten egg is on the face of Iran. So they are kind of keeping away from them. They are not commenting. Bro, I will cover Iran also. What did 𝗑𝗏𝗍 say? In the meanwhile, what has the Russia done? Russia on Saturday, they are bombarding their own arsenal, whatever they have left, like smart than Americans. Americans leave their arsenal, Russians go and bomb that. This is a good thing to do. So Russians bombed their own arsenal, but what did the Americans and Russians do today jointly? After 15 years, I'm seeing Russians and Americans working jointly. What are they doing? They are doing the right thing. Compliments to both our friends, Americans and Russians, because both are our friends. As Indians, America and Russia are both our friends. We love them both. That what they are doing, they are going and bombing the ISIS installations. Wherever they doubt there's an ISIS installation, there's an ISIS hangout, there's anything to do with ISIS, they're going right, left, and center and bombing them. Best thing to do, guys. Come on, amigos. That is the way. Go and hit them hard. Beat the shit out of them. Best thing to do. So Russians and Americans are bombing the hell out of ISIS supporters and ISIS in this. Now, what happened in Damascus? I have to keep on going back and forth. Okay, let me cover Joe Biden here. Joe Biden, for a change, is awake today. Sleepy Joe is not sleepy today. Sleepy Joe said, "Oh, there's a vacuum created for ISIS to come." Well, Mr. Biden, that is not news for us, but good you acknowledged it. I'll compliment you for that. At least when you're leaving the office, you have started talking some truth. And don't forget 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘆 𝗢𝘂𝘁𝘀, who said ISIS is a bunch of monkeys in red jumpsuits. You know how much problem these monkeys cause, and what kind of a ruckus did the world have to face because of these monkeys. That is 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘆 𝗢𝘂𝘁. Biden says now there's a vacuum created and the ISIS can come back. And I agree with Biden, there is a vacuum created, ISIS can come back. Now, who is the epicenter of ISIS? The epicenter of ISIS is this Abu Muhammad Golani, and his real name is Ahmad al-Sahra. He's around 40-45. He is a dreaded ISIS, Islamic State terrorist. He has been as brutal as it can get. And what he talked on an interview with CNN, there are some startling revelations there, which I covered on Saturday. I don't have time to repeat them here, so you have to watch the Saturday episode. That's again in English. So what did he kind of talk there? He has been trying to sugarcoat his image. He has been trying to do an image makeover, trying to be more liberal and on. But he is ISIS. He was ISIS. He will be ISIS. Now, the problem with that is, so what is HTS? HTS is just a front. It is ISIS. It's Al-Qaeda. It's Khorasan. It's Hezbollah. It is a lot of the jihadi sangatans or jihadi organizations which have been given a fig leaf of HTS. And under this HTS, this man, Golani, is also believed to be the reincarnation, not practically, technically speaking, of Baghdadi. He's believed to be the reincarnation of Baghdadi. He's very dangerous and dreaded. So basically, we are talking about a situation where ISIS is back into game in Syria, right? And Golani went to the central mosque of Damascus, wherein he said, we have taken over Syria, Bashar is gone. As I had always predicted you guys, Bashar will go to Russia, Bashar will not go to Jordan, Bashar will not go to Egypt. He had options from both. Jordan, he said, you can come over here. Egypt said, you can come over there. But I told you, I can bet my neck out and say Bashar will go to Russia. You know why? Because Bashar doesn't trust his fellow Muslims. They know in a Muslim world, you can be traded for a good amount of money. If the money is good, Bashar's neck is on the sale. It depends who can put how much of money. In Islamic world, everything is up for sale. Everybody is up for sale. It's the money, how much you can put on the table. Now, look, this is the reality of the Islamic world. They might come and do this, show 57 leaders and clicking pictures. This is all BS, huh? This is all crap. Why did the Shia Muslim Bashar not go to Sunni Egypt or Sunni Jordan? He went to a Christian, a kafir, huh? A kafir Christian Putin. He trusted kafirs more than his fellow brethren in Islamic world. That is the reality. Wake up. I'm telling you, he knew Iran will Iran. Of course, he didn't go to Iran because after Nasrallah was killed and after what is his name, Qasem Soleimani got killed and after Ismail Haniyeh got killed in Iran, nobody wants to go to Iran. Trust me, because if Ismail Haniyeh can get killed in the most sacred and most protected barrack of Mr. Khamenei the Great, imagine Bashar was a stink duck. So Bashar said, no, I don't want to go to Iran. Iran is too dangerous. Even Khamenei is hiding in a bunker, even which his son doesn't know which bunker he is in. So Bashar said, hey, bhai, I don't want to go to there. Let me go to my brother Putin. Putin, being a Christian, Putin being a kafir, is more trusted than the fellow Shia or Sunni Islamic brethren. Islamic brethren. I want to emphasize on this point. So a kafir is more trusted than Shia and Sunni Islamic brethren. Look, Shia was Iran and Sunni was Egypt and Jordan. No, nothing going. Bashar is smart. At least he's living. If he would have gone there, gone. Bashar is a smart guy. His father was a dictator. He was a dictator. And if he survived 25 years of war, there should be some metal in him, right? He should not be crap. So Bashar, good. Your own family are safe in Putin. You did the right thing. And take my written guarantee today. Yeah, written. One day, I'll come on PGurus And I'll tell you about this broadcast. Xi Jinping is again going to go to Russia one day. I've been telling you this. I've been telling you about Assad and I will tell you about Xi. Xi will also go to Russia. He'll also take political asylum in Russia. He will run away to Russia or he will not live. So ultimately for Xi Jinping, the emperor of China, either he dies or he goes to Russia. So Assad and Xi will be playing golf in Russia. But they will need an interpreter to talk between the two, right? So she will say, let's use eggs in place of golf balls. Bashar told them, why should we use eggs? If we miss, we can eat one. Okay. And don't tell me it was the rotten Chinese egg, man. That stinks. I mean, it stinks from 6 meters away. Man, that's a Chinese delicacy. I don't want to comment on that. I am very sensitive culturally. I love the culture. So I'm not going to talk on it, right? Hold.
Let me understand if I heard you right. You're saying that Chinese love rotten eggs as a delicacy?
Yeah. There's a Chinese.
But that is sulfur going bad. It will give you sulfuric acid and it will give you all those foul smelling gases.
Sir, if you see that egg from almost 3 meters, it stinks. But I don't know what do. They keep it, they age it. It kind of rots in a way. But it's that controlled rotting, and it becomes a delicacy. So all these weird things happen in China. That's why what we say in Hindi, chemical locha. The chemicals of the brain get upset. That is why you do such atrocious things. You do crazy things. Believe it on the eggs, not Xi Jinping. So I have a new alibi for you, Mr. Xi. Believe it on the eggs, not yourself. So you are the best guy. It's the eggs. These eggs are bad. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm happy because there's a lot to cover today now. Okay. Now, this is what Joe Biden has to say. What does Donald Trump has to say? Donald Trump says it's not our war. It is not our war. But remember one thing, there's an angle to it. And now I'm coming to a serious angle. Look, the area which is Kurdistan, which is supposed to be Kurd dominated, there are 900 US Marines, which I told you on Saturday, which are based there. What are these 900 US Marines supposed to do? They are supposed to make sure ISIS doesn't come and take it. Now, Kurds are supported by Americans. It's an open secret. It's not an analysis. Everybody knows about it. In Kurdistan, all the oil of Syria is in Kurdistan. So Kurds control oil and Americans protect them. Americans have to fund the war. I love them for that because they always try to find where can I fund this money. Except Joe Biden, who has wasted a lot of money, but other guys have been smart. So Kurds have been, now Americans protect Kurds. Now the problem Kurds have with Turkish rebels. Erdogan doesn't like Kurds. Erdogan and Turkish-based rebels which have been fighting each other. And a lot of Kurds has been killed by Turkish rebels or Erdogan's Malaysia. I call them Erdogan's Malaysia. Today, the important piece of news which I predicted on Saturday. I told you on Saturday, there will be a fight between Erdogan's forces and these Kurds, and it has come true. 26 Kurds have been eliminated in the last 24 to 48 hours by Turkish-backed militias. Because Erdogan thinks that this is his time to get hold on Kurdistan, because Kurdistan has oil, Turkey doesn't have a lot of oil, it has little oil, whatever, and get rid of the Kurds and control the territory. Americans are saying if we give the territory, we have no interest in Syria. Who is going to fund the war? Where are we going to put our things about? So what is going to happen is now there is the time which I've been proposing. You have to break Syria into 4 parts. Christian Syria, Shia Syria, Kurdistan, and Israel has to create a buffer zone. So compliments to Israelis, they've already done the first part of it. I love you for your speed. So you've created the buffer zone, which I suppose now there has to be a Syrian part of Christian, Syrian part for our Christian brothers. Now for Shias, there needs to be a part, and for Kurds, there needs to be a part. So Syria has to break in 4 parts or 4 countries or whichever you want to call it, and this has to be there. And for Americans, you must have a base in the Kurdish part and you must have a base in the Christian part. And Jews and Americans must jointly patrol the part of the territory which Israel temporarily has taken, which of course temporarily will go, has to become the permanent part of Israel. You have to protect that territory. So that is how you can get more and more foothold in the Middle East. This is very, very important if you want to protect your interests. Now Trump says it's not our war, but there are some conflicting things which I'm going to talk to you. Now this is what the Trump has to say. Trump says it's not our war, we are not going to fight it, but Biden says, hey, buddy, Trump, there are 900 of our guys there. What are you going to do with them? If Erdogan, who is a part of NATO, right? By the way, Trump yesterday said, I want to walk out of NATO. I want to pardon all the people who were responsible for that, the Capitol Hill incident.
January 6th.
January 6th. And I want to throw all illegal immigrants out, so which is a good thing. Now, here, there's a bone of contention between
Actually, let me add one more thing. It's very important because you said this. Viewers, one important thing that Trump has said is that, let's say somebody came in illegally to United States and then they started a family. Children were born in the United States. By United States law, children born in United States automatically become citizens, except there's one clause. The parents have to be legally in the United States. In other words, you could be on a tourist visa because you were entered legally, have given birth to the child, because a lot of Hong Kongers did that before 1997 when they are ceding control to China, right? A lot of Hong Kong moms came in the 1995-1996 time frame. They would come when they were advanced state of pregnancy, give birth to their child in US, then go back, because when the child turns 18, they have right to come back to US. So this was happening. Now what he has said is, if your parents are illegally in the United States and if they are deported, the child will also be deported even though that person is a US citizen. They'll have the right to come back when they are 18. Until then, bye-bye.
And what America should do, you should abolish this citizenship of by birth. You know, when anybody is born in America, it becomes an American citizen. That unless and until that clause is not taken out, the problem will not end. Anyway, with these things happening, let's come back to the discussion for some other day. Now, Trump says, look, this is what I'm going to do. My priorities are these 3 priorities. Now, the problem here is that if now the Americans is called birthright citizenship, Trump is ending that. It's right. Now the problem here is that if this happens, what if these Americans Marines come under attack from Turkey, and your problem is that Turkey is a part of your NATO? That is why Trump says, I want to exit NATO. Because if you can't fight with each other if you're part of the same NATO. So by NATO Charter 5, if one of the NATO members, others have to attack him. So what if Turkey attacks America or America attacks Turkey? Where will the other members go? Whom are they going to fight and with, against whom and for whom? So to end that fiasco, Trump says, I am kind of walking out of NATO, which might be a smart thing to do. So Erdogan can play a really spoiled sport here. Now this is another angle. Now, I will take you. So this angle is very important. Let me take you to another angle. You know, Greeks have left their embassy, fearing that, look, there is a problem. Our embassies may be ransacked and all. And you know what? Turkish rebels, these HTS rebels, I call them Turkish rebels at times, don't mind me. They have entered and they have hoisted a flag of there on the top of the embassy. Now, even in Moscow, there are 2 flags today. One is Bashar's flag, one is a new flag. So you don't know which flag it is on. Huh? That is what the Greeks have done. A lot of countries have left their embassies in Syria, saying, look, it's not possible to work. Though Indian embassy is operational running, then and I'll talk about what are the implications of the India. You have to hang on. There are some important revelations I'm going to make there. Now, if you talk of, now let me take you to France. France is very happy, according to the France External Affairs Minister. He says it's a very good win and a very strategic win. That Bashar Assad is gone. It's a defeat for Russia. France is happy because France presumes and believes. I don't know which school of diplomacy they have taught and where they come from. I think they come straight from duck farming and become external affairs ministers. So the duck farmer says that, look, it is a very good thing. Buddy, this is ISIS, this is Hezbollah, this is all these crapheads getting together in a coalition. HTS is only the name. Look at Golani's interview to CNN, which I covered on Saturday. He clearly says, after a new formation might come and a new set of people might take over. He says HTS may not be there. I pointed this point out on the video strongly because the most important takeaway of that interview was HTS may not be there. So what HTS we are talking, it might be something different altogether. And of course, it's a Sharia, though in Aleppo, they have told the Christian community, the bishops, no, we are going to be very normal and all. So far, we have not seen any traits of genocide done. But yes, all the Bashar Shia soldiers which were caught are believed to be eliminated by now. The people who went to Bashar, soldiers who have crossed over to Iraq and Jordan, they have saved their lives. But then all the soldiers which they have caught, they have eliminated them. Second thing, the most dreaded ISIS and Al-Qaeda operatives, Muslim Brotherhood operatives, and others which were in the Syrian jails, those which were also called the slaughterhouses, where Bashar used to kind of purge them, rightfully so. Now the problem is the most dangerous jails of Syria. wherein the most dangerous criminals of, remember Caliphate, so-called. There was Syria and Iraq where the ISIS Caliphate was. It was Syria and Iraq, and it took the world. It was the first operations which Americans and Russians did together to eliminate. Again, it was Donald Trump. It could not have been done by, right? So it was Donald Trump who did it, right? Now these people either have been eliminated, whoever were not left were kept in those Syrian jails, right? You guys are going to make my lungs burst today with all the comments. Anyway, that's the fun part of it. So they were kept in Syrian jails. What is happening? What is happening is that these all dreaded terrorists are being led out by these HTS guys. If HTS guys and Golani is talking about I'm all for liberty, and he talks about some institutionalized running and democracy and all, why is he letting these dreaded criminals out? Now these dreaded criminals are going to go out. They are not going to sell mutton tikka once they are out on the streets. They only know violence. They only know killing. So you can see now exactly what happened in Bangladesh is happening in there. This Islamic Middle Eastern module of Islamic terror will be reinstated in Syria. I can tell you a part of Caliphate is already building in Syria, right? So all these terrorists have been let out by Golani. They are all out. There's one prison whose name I can't remember. There's a Middle Eastern name, but I know that prison was a no-go zone. And most of the people who were kept there were supposed to be eliminated. They were on a death sentence or whatever. All those dreaded terrorists, all are coming out. They're all fled. They're all been let out.
Abu Ghraib.
I can't remember the name, sir. I can't remember. It's some prison. They've all been left out. And, the problem is now they are going to go with these people. Now, what is this HTS? HTS is nothing. It's a consortium of jihad. It's a consortium of Sunni terrorist groups. There are 17 or 18 factions which are there. And let me remind you, Pakistan, 𝗤𝙗𝘗𝑇aliban Pakistan is there. Pakistani Afghans are there. Pakistani Pathans are there. And even clear Hindi, Urdu speaking Pakistani terrorists, Sunnis are there. Now, I don't know, does the French External Affairs Minister understand Islam, or he needs a lesson from us? I can tuition him for free if he doesn't understand. But I'm surprised. How can you have such irresponsible statements that you are happy and you are glad that Bashar is gone and we see a range of change or not? It doesn't end here. There's something seriously wrong in the Christian world. You know what the Britishers have to say? This HTS is a UN designated, European Union designated, and American designated terrorist organization. And this Golani is a global terrorist, designated by all. Now, the great British Empire, where the sun never used to set, says, oh, you know what? We are not considering them as terrorists. Believe me or not, HTS, the great Britishers and the British government, I hope Rishi Sunak was there. There would not be in debacle. This 𝗤𝙬 is going to put UK will be, Syria in making if they continue like this. He says we are considering to revoke that ban on HTS. And because Bashar was supported by Russia, because Bashar is gone, Russia has lost, so we'll support ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Do you believe it is happening? This is the British. Iranians are saying, now Iranis are very important. Oh, we'll see how does the new regime behave. We'll see how they have been talking. I told you on Saturday, Israelis said we are in talks with the this HTS guys. But I told you Israel doesn't trust anybody. Israel will do what they have to do. So today there is no evidence at least of HTS engaging with US or Israel at any front. But Turkish rebels are already engaging with Kurds, and they have killed 26 of their fighters. So there are parts of Syria which are already erupting. Now, Iraq is also treading cautiously. Iraq has said, look, we are going to see how do the things work, because Iraq, there's a mix of population between Shias and Sunnis. A part of Iraq was supporting Bashar, and a part of Iraq will now support HTS because they are Sunnis. So Saudis are keeping away. Saudis is talking for unity and, the peace should prevail and all those. UAE has not spoken much. Kuwait has not spoken much. When I talk of India, India is talking of there should be a consensus and some political discourse should happen and the things should take over. Now, Russia, Putin is silent, and it is believed that Putin has himself approved the asylum of Bashar Assad. It's direct Putin who assured, and Putin has ensured safety of Bashar Assad. At least Bashar will live. That's the good part of it. Putin is a gentleman. So again, if you hear straight here, there's a conflict between what Trump and Biden thinks. Trump says it's not our war. Biden says there are 900 of our men there. If we don't do anything much, ISIS will come on. And remember, Trump said that if Iran puts people on the ground, we will put American boots on the ground. So we don't know how Iranis are going to look at. And don't forget, when exactly Hezbollah declared the ceasefire, Golani called for the offensive. In 13 days, he could whack through Assad. It's not a coincidence. And now, so this is about Australians, this is about Britishers, this is about, I've covered French, I've covered Iran, I've covered pretty much all. Egypt is fuming. I told you that. Why did Mr. Israel, why did you go and take those more territory? Though it is not Egypt's territory, still Fatah al-Sisi has heartburns. I don't know why. What is wrong with you, Mr. al-Sisi? You should be happy. And what is Hakan saying? Hakan, the foreign minister of Turkey. He's saying that, we are very happy that the Islamist rule and Islamic teachings have prevailed. And Bashar's terrorist regime is gone. Now, HTS are not terrorists. They are the warriors of Islam, or Ghazis or Ghaznavis. And Bashar, a Shia, is a terrorist. So that is as per Erdogan. Now, Erdogan is trying to get his piece of cake in this. He has a failing economy. He has the second highest inflation in the world. And he's in typical shit. Before Erdogan, let me take you from here, go to Lebanon. What does Lebanon say? Lebanon's crossed all the borders with Syria, except one crossing, the main crossing. All other crossings are crossed. We would also recommend government of India to cross all the crossings with Bangladesh, keep one or two open, because something like this can also happen in Bangladesh. I am telling you this will happen in Bangladesh. You have to, Prime Minister Modi in all goodwill, when Sheikh Hasina was there, we restored our connectivity to a 1965 level. That is before the Bangladesh was taken out. So a lot of new connectivity was opened. Now, looking at what is happening in the world, I would recommend and I will request government of India close all the connectivity, just a one or two open, so that militarily it becomes easier for us to control the inflow or outflow. So that is the point number one. So Lebanon has done this. Lebanon is now in a disarray because Lebanon knows with the things changing in the Middle East, Hezbollah ceasefire will not hold. And call it the masterstroke. Why did Israelis negotiate 60 days to withdraw from the river? They know what is going to happen now. They know how the things will happen. You still have 45 days. Do you think now Israel is going to withdraw? No. How? Because the things have changed. Well, Mr. Biden, things have changed. Now we have ISIS in Syria. We have Al-Qaeda in Syria. How can we withdraw from Lebanon? If we withdraw from Lebanon, Hezbollah's cadre will come and occupy those villages of the southern Lebanon and we'll have problem. So where Israel cannot come out, sir. Kindly understand that things have changed. So we have three sides problem. We have Hamas, we have Hezbollah, and we have ISIS. And Hamas, by the way, the government of Hamas, which is still in shambles in Gaza Strip, has congratulated HTS for their great win. There has been celebratory gunfire in Gaza, celebrating that how Sunnis have prevailed and how Shias have been dismantled in Yemen. And so they are very happy that Sunnis have prevailed. They are very happy Al-Qaeda and ISIS have come and become their neighbors. Poor Israel. If you are not on your own wills and guts, you will be really eliminated, man. You will really have something in you which keeps you alive and kicking. So now Iran is studying cautiously. Say we'll see how it happens because Iran has an egg on its face. They don't know what to do now. Hamas is celebrating, no word from Hezbollah. Hezbollah is gone. By the way, Islamic Jihad in West Bank, I tracked up. Islamic Jihad is celebrating, congratulating Golani. You have liberated Syria. Wow. Taliban have again congratulated Golani. You have liberated Syria. I didn't get a message from Pakistan. There's no reaction which is at least available from Pakistan. China is also saying that, tread cautiously. So Chinese have not tried to put fuel to the fire because all the Chinese plans of dominating Middle East through Shia route are gone. You wanted to dominate Middle East. Remember, what is his name? Wang Yi going and having Saudis and Iranis do a handshake and being in the middle and taking a picture. Wang Yi, hey man, where are you? I told you don't understand shit about Middle East. You don't understand shit about Middle East. You thought you will do a handshake of them and in the Middle East is settled. Now go and settle it. This is Middle East for you. A whirlpool of undercurrents where undercurrents never settle. You thought you settled, now you settled Shias and Sunnis. There should be handshaking. Now, what if you look at me and get your translator to translate in Chinese? If your English is not good, then you will tell you what I'm telling you. Now, this is how the undercurrents work there. Hezbollah is silent, Hamas is thanking them. Oh, good, good. You have done a fantastic job. Islamic Jihad of West Bank is thanking Golani. You are liberated. Good. You know why? Because they're all Sunnis. So, and Bashar is Shia. Yemen is Shia. Yemen is silent. No word from Yemen. Only Houthis threatening Israel. Oh, if you do this, we'll do this, all that and all that. So Houthis will need one more few bombardments from F-35s of Americans and Israelis. And you have to eliminate that Houthi leader, whoever he is. By the way, Bashar eliminated 500,000 men. Very little number, just a 500,000 men, and then things are going. Now, in the end, I have to also talk about the Indian angle. She said you wanted to make a point about India.
That's what I wanted to remind you, that we still have a topic to go. Go ahead.
Okay, now what is happening in India? Look, there was a time Syria was taken out of the Arab League by the Arabs. Bashar was taken out. But even during that, India maintained the relations with Syria. We have embassy there. Our embassy is up and running. There are a lot of Indians in Syria. And let me tell you, there are around 800,000 Syrians in Germany. And after Angela Merkel opened the doors of hell or heaven for Germans, earlier the number was
Syrians.
100. Now it has crossed 1 million. It was 150 or something like that. So a substantial part of Syrians are living in Germany, and there are around 500,000 applications just still pending. Thank God India is not signatory to any of this crap. We thank our stars. So we don't want Middle Eastern terror to come to India. Now, India has 2 oil projects which are signed by ONGC in 2004 and one other year. Now, the challenge with that is they have put a substantial money. Prime Minister Modi gave Bashar Assad and Syria $250 million of credit line. We have put money in a fertilizer plant there. We have put money in a power plant there, and we have 2 of these oil projects which are going. Because according to Benjamin Netanyahu, what did he say? He says, when you look at the axis of the evil, Syria was the center. Because the arms smuggling from Iran to Lebanon and to Hamas and Hezbollah was happening through Syria. Because you have to go through Syria, right? So if Syria is taken out, Benjamin Netanyahu's hapu, the axis is broken. But for us, Syria was our epicenter into the Middle East, right? That is why China was competing with us. That is why China gave that crazy equipment to Bashar, which I covered in the Endgame China series, which we will do on Sunday, 10 o'clock. Because Bashar did not want Indian interest to, China did not want Indian interest to prevail in Syria. India had a good relation with Bashar. We maintained a good relation with Bashar. And Bashar never talked about Kashmir or anything about India Muslim crap, what usually the Muslim leaders talk. He never talked anything. So we had 2 oil and gas explorations there. We had a power plant, we had fertilizers. We were sending them medicines, and even in the COVID, we'd send them a lot of vaccines. We sent them wheat, we sent them rice, we sent them pulses. So there was a lot which was going from there because there was not a lot of business in Syria, and it's a very war-torn kind of country. So there was not a lot of commerce happening. But Bashar saw India as a very important factor. That is why India's influence was increasing in the Middle East, because we wanted to, and India is a part of I2U2 also. So India was seen quite good and friendly with the Shia countries, which Sunni countries are not. So to upset that is why China gave Bashar that listening equipment where they can spy on Israel. I had covered that in the Endgame series. So now the challenge with India is that, first of all, we have a diaspora there. Where is the problem? Second, we have embassy there. So far, it is safe. We don't know. I pray to God, Lord 𝗏𝗂𝗏. It should be always safe. Our diplomats should be always safe. They're doing a fantastic work there. Our diaspora is there. Third thing is we have a lot of dollars. We have multi-billion-dollar investments in Syria. Now, this oil and gas we are trying to get, and we have been getting from them. ONGC has assets there. ONGC has put money there. Fertilizer, all this goodwill, what we have done. This will come into a jeopardy because the people who are coming here, look, Bashar was a dynast. He might be a tyrant or he might be a dictator, but he was not a chapister. He was not a Sadaka Unda. He was not a terrorist. Bashar was not a terrorist like this Abu Golani. He was not an ISIS guy. Bashar had still 40 cars and all the palaces, though they burned out all his palaces and everything. But still, whatever Bashar was, he was okay guy, at least to have a transitional relation with. Now with these HTS guys, they are all controlled, backed by Turkey, Muslim Brotherhood, and the radical and Wahhabis, Islamists of the world. So when these people come into the power, the government or the ruling council or whatever you want to call it, they will take distinctions from Erdogan. And Erdogan is not a friend of India. Erdogan doesn't wish India good. So first of all these assets of India, all the investments of India will come into a question mark. As I told you, what happened to the Greek embassy? What happened to the Indian embassy? right? So I don't know what can happen to our embassy. So our investments will come into question mark. Our goodwill is gone, and soon we might have to evacuate Indians from there, and we might have to also evacuate our diplomats from there. And the fourth thing which is going to happen is that a lot of activity against India might now be happening in a safe haven in Middle East, which is going to be Syria. Because today, if you look at Syria, there was no if you look at the whole of Middle East for that matter, and even if you look at Syria, there was no anti-India activity ever happening there. Now with Bashar gone and these terrorists which are backed by Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, Turkey, and other places, if they have a foothold there, trust me, it's a matter of time we'll have anti-India activities being started from there. And these anti-India activities can target our assets and our embassies and our personnel across the Middle East. Look, Middle East has very porous borders. It's not very difficult to go from one place to another place. And the terrain is like that, you cannot guard everything. People want to come cross, they will cross. So this will be epicenter where a lot of anti-India activity can be cultivated. And what will happen next? These bastards, sorry to use this word, will get support from China and Pakistan. Take my prediction today. You will see China and Pakistan supporting HTS. The day you see China and Pakistan supporting HTS, you can tell me that what I told today is right and correct. You can mark the date and time. I'm seeing that China and Pakistan will ultimately support this HTS. So if the day you see China and Pakistan supporting HTS, one of the main focus will be anti-India activities. So and targeting Indian assets. India has a lot of oil and gas assets, a lot of oil and gas investments under Prime Minister Modi in complete Middle East. Remember, there's a big Indian temples which are coming up in Middle East. There's big Indian diaspora which lives in Middle East. Unfortunately, but true, they all will be targeted. So if Prime Minister Modi maintained a very good relation with Bashar, it's not out of fluke. He understands what are the gives and takes. It's not only oil. It's diaspora, it's embassy, it's assets, it's oil retendants, it's a lot of things which are at stake. And let's not forget, UAE is the third biggest partner of India in the trade, I think touching around $100 billion. So a lot of these things will come under jeopardy because you have Houthis, which can only target you in the Red Sea. But here in the heart of the Middle East, you have these people, and if they start taking dictation from Muslim Brotherhood, ISI, Erdogan and all, they can ferment a lot of trouble. Suddenly you will see a lot of things change in the Middle East vis-a-vis Kashmir, which India doesn't have to bother about because Kashmir is our integral part. We don't give a shit to whoever has to say what. That is what at least my take on it is. That is what our take should be. But there will be changes there. So this is how India's interests are going to be, impacted. And my problem is one other thing. Even if you get Golani on your side and all, how do you know how long Golani is going to be in the business? And even if Golani is in the business, what about the other factions which make the consortium of jihad? There might be 20, 17 or 18 known organizations which are part of this HTS. Who has which stake and who controls what? With Bashar, at least you had one man, you have to talk to one man and things will get done. But with these people, it will become like Afghanistan. You might have an embassy there, but how much functional it will be, what exactly embassy can do, and what all it cannot do. These are things which have to be contemplated. And I hope and pray that these jihadis and these Wahhabis and these Islamists, which were running now Syria, might go under the same thing of, Yahud and Hanud. Yahud is Jews and Hanud is Hindus. They might get into this might get into their skin and start itching them. If that happens, that's going to be a real problem for us because up till this date, we had no organized group or syndicate or an organization which was targeting Indian and Indian interests. But very soon, that thing might change. Things might go on the other way of the divide. So that is something which we have to wait and watch and contemplate how the things are going to shift. And trust me, if Greeks have left, if Iran, this is what is happening to Iran, and if a lot of, and a lot of things are happening, Lebanon is closing all its borders with Syria for the first time in there was a civil war going for 25 years, but Lebanon never felt the need of closing the borders with Syria. Why today? These are the points which you must note because they know what can come. So, and if you look, Israel is around and then all the places around, even for our Jewish brothers, there are going to be a lot of nightmares which are going to happen. But my fear is now this war might suddenly go out of control. And remember, 45 days still. for by the time Trump comes to power and really starts taking control. Though, by the way, one important aspect: Qataris are completely silent. That worries me more. Why is 𝗒𝙗𝘀𝗍𝘃 silent? He's the same way who has been trying to negotiate these truces and all. Why is he silent on this? And remember, Qatar is the only country which supports all terrorist groups, Shia, Sunni, whatever. They will support everybody. They will fund everybody. Their priority may be Sunnis, but again, they will fund Shias. So which way the Qatar is going to be? And what happens to the meeting he had with 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝙠 in Austria, for which Trump's envoy told him to go and meet 𝗣𝗽𝗍? What will happen to the truce? And so before Trump comes to office, will there be a truce? Will the hostages be released? And if the hostages are not released, Trump said the hell will break loose. What are Trump's options now? Does Trump want to enter Middle East in this fiasco? Will they be caught? Will it become another Vietnam for them? That are the questions which are staring at your face now. So friends, when I say Middle East is a whirlpool of undercurrents, where the undercurrents never settle, this is true. And by the grace of God, whatever I say, 𝗒𝙗𝘁 𝗢𝘂𝘁, some kripa of Lord Mahakal, 99% of those things come true. So I've been predicting this is going to happen, this will happen, and this has really happened. So let's wait and watch how do the things turn up. It's not a happy situation for India. And to doing an evacuation is tricky from Syria. It's not going to be so easy because there's nobody in control, right? There is nobody in control in Syria. Let's wait and watch how it happens, and let's wait and watch how others do. I think Saudis have to play an important role here, and I think the best thing Americans can do right now, what I will only advise Donald Trump or his team, if they happen to see this, can you kindly ask Joe Biden, can you kindly ask Anthony Blinken not to travel to Middle East? Stop Blinken from traveling to Middle East unless and until you want the shit to hit the fan. That is my limited take on it. And French Mr. Baron, I think his name is some Baron or whatever. Sir, you should understand what is Islam. If you're born and brought up in a Catholic neighborhood and went to a French school in Toulouse, that's good, and I love Toulouse. But I don't think you understand Islam. I don't think you understand what has happened in Syria. If you would have, you would have not given such statements. It really talks about how shallow your understanding of geopolitics and the world affairs is. Such people should be kept for, art and culture ministries, not for foreign affairs. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And viewers, excuse me, I'm going to grab the screen for a second. Thank you so much. So viewers, our team is busy shipping your singles, and that's why I'm manning the back end also today. So a few things will go here and there. A few questions we are going to take. It's already 52 minutes for a very important talk. Thank you so much, Sumit ji. If you are residing in the United States, you can order them. We have them in stock. We'll ship the same day. We are shipping almost every day. Whenever the orders come in, the same day the things ship. So please feel free to order them. If you are in US, these are going and gone. So question for you, Sumit ji. One thing that comes out in my mind is, normally whenever India takes up projects, like for example Afghanistan or now Syria, it is not with a view to hurt the people. It is not with a view to do any damage. It is never selfish. There is a give and take. Okay, we give you this, you get this, we get this in return. Something like that. So I'm hoping that even if it's going to be a terrorist organization, they have to still, rosy roti is rosy roti, right? The people have to be fed. They need to have their stuff. They need to have their revenues. So I'm hoping that they'll see reason and sit down and make sure that the Indian assets are not touched. Let's hope so. We'll hope for the best. Now let's take a few questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
Ashwin Sureshi, 𝗤𝗏𝗏 𝗍𝙗. Thank you so much. 2 nationalist YouTube channels, ABC Malayalam and Patrika, based in Kerala, were hacked recently. Please advise caution. Pranjal to both gurus. Thank you so much, Ashwin. This is a problem that happens.
And there are 90 Indian projects which are still on in Syria. 90.
Wow. Thank you, Ashwin. 1 second. Let me line up the next one. Thank you, Jay. Sree sir, is non-green card holder can cast vote in India? What are the limits? No, even a green card holder can cast vote in India. You just need to be on the voter roll. See, what happens is, just before elections, there will be an enumeration that is carried out. They'll come to your house to find out how many people are living. Let's say you've given a certain address, and let's say your mother is living there and somebody else. So they have to tell that my son is going to be coming to vote, or he's traveling now, he'll be back. You have to answer cleverly. If you say that, oh, he's been living outside for 3 years, they'll take you off of the voter rolls. They don't want you. Remember that these are all people on contract basis. They don't really apply their mind much. They're just blindly following some rule or the other. So you have to be careful. Make sure that your people, your relatives, or whoever is staying there tells the right thing. If you have rented out your house and you are hoping to use that as your address, that might be a little bit difficult. Let's just say, because from common sense, it's not easy to do that. So all the best. And next one, EQ Focus. Thank you so much. Last week OIC meeting और एक week में वक्त बदल गया, जज्बात बदल गए. Is Iraq next or Iran? What happens to oil price in the short term?
Right now, short-term oil price might go up a little bit, but Syria is not a biggest contributor to oil, and this is the ripple effect. This is not going to stop. You know what Israel has rightfully done after, if the Hezbollah was not dismantled, this would have not happened. If Hezbollah was still in one piece, Nasrallah was there, Jama was there, this Mohammed Daif, this all Ismail Hani and all those 𝗤𝙗𝘁𝗍𝙗 and all those were there, this would have not happened what you see today. So it is not going to stop here. It will go to Iran. It will go to Iraq also. My worry is that what will happen to Israel? Israelis know how to protect themselves. I'm not worried on that. But, whenever there is a war, there are costs. Nothing is free. That's the problem.
Yes, indeed. That is very true. And Rishi Patel, thank you so much. Sumitji, it's very interesting that 42 of the police stations and couple of government officers are working on Chinese money in the province of British Columbia and supporting anti-India sentiment.
I won't be surprised anything in Canada. By the way, I forgot to mention about the Canadian Pappu. Canadian Pappu has said that he's very happy with the developments there. And now, does he even understand if when he talks of happy with the developments, because he's this anti-Russia, he's so much blinded. Now that Bashar is gone, he is supporting Al-Qaeda, Muslim Brotherhood and Islamic State. He has supported them. He says it's good that, there's a very happy developments and all that. I don't know, again, which white powder are these guys on? Which kind of powder?
And last question, Rajeshwar Nath Rana wants to know, Sriji, will dominance over Golan Heights spell a luck for Israel given current position? These are just vantage points. There are nobody is living there. I mean, not much. It's very desert. See, most of Middle East is desert. Go ahead, sir.
I'm saying that, you have this opportunity has to be used to increase your buffer zone. Because even today, drones have been fired from, Syria on Israel. So if you kind of increase your buffer zone, then you get out of the range of Katyusha missiles and rockets and those small arms and all that. What Israel is rightly doing, eliminating all these weapons which could be a problem to Israel. So Israel has done the right thing. Even in Lebanon, even Syria and all, you have to increase the buffer zones. Because if you don't want 7th October 2023 to hope happen again, you have to increase the buffer zones. And that day I told you one thing. Do you remember, guys? You have not watched the video. Palestinians will be relocated in Syria. Didn't I tell you on Saturday? Palestinians will be relocated in Syria. Now it's coming true. That day it was a kind of a hunch or whatever. Today it's coming true. Now if they occupy the territory, they can put Palestinians there. So they will not have them in Gaza and all. They will be relocate these 2 million people there. Makes sense?
Well, that brings us to a close of today's program. Thank you so much, Sumitji. And just give me 1 second. Let me take this thing off. Lot of work in the back end that's unfamiliar to me. So
not a problem. We have all the time in the world. But I think I'll keep on talking. I think, brothers and sisters, wherever you are in the world, I think this is as brief and as crisp I could put it in 50 minutes so that you could get the hang of exactly what happened, what was predicted, what is going to happen, and what are the next things, and how India's interests might or might not be compromised. What our request is to kindly like this video, kindly share this video and subscribe to our channel so that the channels become more popular and this voice reaches all the people in the world and where it matters. We have tried to make it as crisp and precise and very, very structured it in a way so that there's a logical flow of information from the start to the end. So on that note, we'd like to thank you for your love, patronage, and support, which we always get. And we are sure that you're going to like this video, you're going to share this video, and you're going to endorse our point of view. On that note, Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, and Har 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 Mahadev.
Mahadev.